The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What up, though? What's happening, y'all? E-Buck in the building. Eric Buckner here. And of course, if it's that time on a Wednesday, you know what it is. It's time for Gametime Audible, your favorite sports podcast. You got me, that dude, when that proud Michigan gear, go blue all day, every day. And of course, you got that dude right there, the dude with the gray, the one and only, the world famous sports guru himself, young Hugh Lee. What up, Hugh?
What's good, man? How everything going, E?
Hey, it's going good, man. I'm blessed and I can't be stressed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But yeah, as
Amen to
always, we are looking forward to talking that sports tonight. We got some good things to talk about as always. Remember, y'all, this ain't just our show, it's y'all show too. So as you pop in, say hey. Even if you only watch us for a minute or two, we appreciate all of you. Trust and believe that, okay? So that being said, we about to get into it. What we talking about tonight, Hugh? What we gonna do? We gonna do a little football?
We're gonna start it off with the MLB and the Players Association, man, because I'm
All
still
right.
curious about what you got, man. You got something up your sleeve, and I want to hear it.
All right, so we're gonna go with a little baseball. So for those of you, shout out to my guy Darius McKinney, one of my original best friends from way back in the day. What up, D? What's happening? Good to see you checking in, bro. But yeah, Baseball Association, Players Union, they done met for weeks now, trying to get this doggone strike up off the situated books so we can
Please.
get the season started on time. Got bad news, children. It ain't happening. They got to the deadline and they couldn't get it done. So they actually stretched it another day, still couldn't make it happen. So now, of course, it is going to cost us some regular season games. At this point, the first two series for all of the MLB teams are now off the books. So basically, the first week of the season, gone.
Mhm.
Fast 6 games already minus. Now, of course, they met today, and I don't know what happened today, but they got so upset with one another, they canceled all talks, period, for the time being. They basically packed up their ball and they left. So now we don't even know when the next time they may possibly meet. At this point, the owners made a final last-ditch effort to make some type of concessions and whatnot. Players Association looked at it, was like, not good enough. Not gonna get it done. We'll pass. You pass, okay then. Whoop, whoop. Now the question is, how long is this gonna go on, Hugh? Well, I got a little insight, okay? An insider, we will call him that. Shout out to you.
Okay.
Gave me a little information and insight based on his closeness to the situation. What we learned is that the owners, they are already pre-prepared to sit this thing out for a while. Remember, in the end, we talking about several millionaires against a few billionaires. And we're talking multi-billionaire. Because remember, there are no other 32 teams who have owners that's out there saying this is my only means of income. Remember, we're not just talking about billionaires here, we're talking multi-billionaires or basically collectives of billionaires that own
Mhm.
these teams.
Billionaire Club.
Remember, last year, even though we were in the midst of a full pandemic, the 1% of Americans, the billionaires, very much a part of that 1%, they made over $1 trillion in profit amongst them all. While basic person A had a decline as they had the last. They are the basic person, basic man A, like you and I, are dealing with inflation. The big fellas, not so much. Not so much. So remember, all this time while we didn't have baseball not going on, or kind of sort of going on, or partially going on, all these people have made profits. Every year, the television rights they renew, and the prices go up every year for the rights to television contracts to view these games, particularly in some of the bigger markets like Boston, Los Angeles, New York. They're making money hand over foot. SNY, who also airs the UConn games, by the way. They are a syndicate network that makes much money airing the Yankees and the Mets. Okay. So they got plenty of money to give, and the owners got plenty of money to spend from getting it from. So that being said, the owners will continue to make money during the lockout. Maybe not necessarily on baseball playing itself, but on game-related things and that. The problem comes that sooner or later, when you have to provide that product to the TV people, you have no product. That's when those contracts start becoming null and void. And then the TV people say, oh, yeah, run my money back. We ain't got no baseball, run my money back. That's not going to be till sometime in early April, late April. So right now, they got some room to wiggle with. You see what I'm saying? So that's thing one. Thing two, they say the major two sticking points for the players is one, we tired of the lesser end players getting the short end of the stick. Remember some of your favorite baseball players right now, the Juan Sotos, the who was that guy that plays for the Tigers now? Badu, the young rookies. They did great last year, but they did it making 200,000, 500,000, maybe $1 million at the most. They are among the lower end paying people. Yes, there are more baseball players, of course, than there are hockey players or soccer players, basketball players, even football players when you count the minor leagues. But you got to remember there's levels. And just like it's levels to the leagues, it's levels to the pay rate. The people in A ball and double A ball, you got a few bonus babies. Y'all remember that movie, Bull Durham, where the kid was a bonus baby, the pitcher? But then basically everybody else on the team, they made just enough to get by. Your average minor league player makes somewhere around 40, 50 G's if he lucky. If he lucky. Some minor league teams, they play players maybe like twice the minimum wage to play. So these are the people they're trying to get looked out for, okay? This is part of why they're having this fight. They're saying these minor league players need to make more money. They're saying these people, when they first come in the league, need to make more money. Yet, when you take all the big salaries and add them all together, the average major league player makes over $1 million. But then you got to remember, on a team of like 25 players, maybe 8 out of those 25 make over $1.5 million. Everybody else is either right about there or lower. And part of that is because they have that service agreement where you can be held to that level until maybe your 5th or 6th year playing. Then you go through arbitration and all of that. It's not fair. The long and short of it, Hugh, is not fair. That is why there are things that they need to interact from some of these other leagues that would make it fair. They need a better job with this whole salary cap that they have in baseball, where basically they kind of have one, but they kind of don't. They should definitely consider doing what the NFL has done with the franchise tag. I say they should franchise tag one pitcher and one hitter from every team. That way you get to keep your superstars that you done drafted a little longer, but you got to pay them what they worth. Because remember, when you franchise tag in NFL, that means you got to make what the top 5% of whoever's in your position grade makes. That's why it's important to denote if you are a running back that's also a wide receiver. So basically, you should get both of those. Just like in baseball, you'd be like, well, okay, I'm a utility man, but I also pitch. Imagine what Shohei Ohtani would be worth in a couple of years from now. He got to get his fair share, and think about it. If his teammate over there, Mr. Trout, got $400 million, and you are pitching and hitting, what kind of salary could you command? And of course, you want to keep him as long as possible. But no, these contracts of 12, 13, 14 years, the players actually don't want that. They want the supermax deals like they get in the NBA, where basically, okay, for 5 years, you get 30, 40 mil, but then after 5 years, you got that player option and all that. These are the things they're trying to work out amongst each other. But right now, the owners have the upper hand because they're not missing out on that much money, if any. because it said that several of these owners they already put up their war chest, so that yeah, we ain't gonna miss out on too much money. I got this to fall back on. Just grab me that other billion stack right quick. If you are a player, you don't have that. Especially if you live in that fabulous life that you know some of these players live. You know the statistic you that I always put out there. After 5 years of playing any major sport, that athlete is usually broke. So you know,
Yeah.
baseball players, if they live in year to year and contract to contract, that money probably gone already. That's why they looking forward to playing this year so they can get some more of that money back. But if we ain't playing at all,
I remember that ESPN special too. He broke, man. It
broke.
was sad
Yep.
to see many of the Afro American black people who was on there who just basically when they got their money, they didn't invest their money, and if they did, it was into the wrong investments. You know, Kurt Schilling was one of the guys who surprised me. I think he put 100 million of his money into video games. You know, and creating a video game system that could compete with like the Sonys and the Xboxes, but you know that wasn't gonna work because you know they already had a loyalty. But getting back into the baseball perspective of it, it's just basically sad because, like you said, I remember at one point, and I know you heard these stories, like when A Rod or somebody was injured and they go to the minor leagues, they felt like they was kings for that week or two, however long they was there, because they didn't have to pay for nothing. They know that the big price guys and the guys who made all the money gave them everything, paid for the better hotels. They was flying in jets and, you know, all types of things. So they were living a good life whenever those players get down there. But
Right.
when they leave, it's back to the courthouse, man. The 40, 50,000 compared to a 40, 50 million dollar player, man. That's just, it's really sad. And like you said, they need to do better because the minor league guys need to make more money, man. And then going into the league too, they were showing some of the guys, some of the rookies like Vlad Guerrero Jr., man, he's making 600,000, you know. And I was like, man, I thought he was making way more than that. And they said with the guys who's coming out right now, or if you were in the minor leagues and you come in the majors now, what they wanted is if you were a minor dude and you make it to the majors, you wouldn't make like a 500, $600,000 like he did. You'll come up already making 1.3 million, or depending on the player you are, you might make even close to 2 million. So yeah, that's something they trying to exercise and they trying to put into these contracts with the minor league guys, man, to give them better, you know, opportunities because a lot of them guys out of that minor league, let's be honest, besides like the top prospects, how many of them make it into the majors?
You got to remember, maybe 15% of all people in the minor leagues will ever be on a major league field at any point. The vast majority of people in the minor leagues, that's as far as they're going to get. Okay. Remember, we got 30, 40 plus rounds of MLB draft every year. They drafting
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of players, and many of those players, they don't make it. Y'all remember that commercial in college where they talk about only about 2% of anybody that plays in college sports will eventually go pro? That's hundreds of thousands of athletes, okay? So we talking about a good chunk of that is baseball. Because remember, baseball and football, those are the two sports that have the most players on their teams. In terms of
Mm-hmm.
baseball, usually have between 25 and 40, and football will have somewhere around 100, depending on what college program you have. So if you think in the end, maybe four of those 100 people end up in the pros, and out of those four, maybe one of them might be an all pro, it's not as glamorous as people make it out. People, yeah, this when I grew up, I want to be a football player. You know how hard that really is?
Yeah.
I want to be a baseball player. Do you understand how hard that really is? Go in a batting cage, people, and turn on the batting cage and just turn it up to about 70 miles an hour. If you can hit that, then I'll shut up. But basic person A, you not only can't hit that, you ain't gonna be able to see it.
I did it and I was scared and I didn't put it on that no more. I said, no, that's enough for me. I'm not putting it back on that because for one, I didn't see it never. And the time I did see it when it shot out at first, about time I got ready, I was like, oh man, it was already in the back. So just imagine, man, they already swinging before it even come out to try to time that, man. That just lets you know. I don't think even we talked about that before. I don't think a lot of
Right.
people respect the game of baseball, man.
They don't. Like I said, I think part of why some people like, Man, I don't want to watch that as boring. They don't understand the absolute skill it takes to do that. Remember, on a very good day back when I was trying to play baseball, I was clocked at about 80 miles per hour. That wasn't good enough. Even then, that wasn't good enough. But it's plenty fast, trust me. Ask a couple of my cousins who seen me throw it that hard. It ain't that easy to hit. So I can only imagine playing somebody and they in their 90s or throwing at 100 plus as some of them do. Just try to catch that, let alone hit it.
And think about it, some of these guys now in the majors, they curveballs are 85 miles per hour, man. That's crazy.
Exactly. Exactly. And then your average baseball player, particularly pitchers, like 6'2". So imagine they standing on an elevated mound at 6'2", 6'3", throwing that type of heat. And you got not only hit it, but hit it somewhere to where it goes in fair territory. Because some of y'all might be able to get a hold of a couple, but to actually put it in play, and I don't care if you're taking steroids or not, that still ain't easy to do.
Not at all.
So yeah, these
People
people
try
need
to
to be
give too
paid
much
for their
steroids.
skill.
Here, we talked about that. It take a skill, man. Somebody told me something stupid before, like the steroids make you react faster. I'm like, but yeah, I said regardless of the fact, you got to either have that eye for to hit that ball or you don't. You
Right.
know,
Because
there's no in
remember,
between. Steroids don't make things any better. I mean,
right, and
they might make
remember,
you powerful.
we talk about the steroid era and how at one point they asked a couple people that was willing to be honest about it, how many people you thought was taking steroids. And remember, people like Jose Canseco was like at least half of them was taking steroids. So in the end, you didn't see half the league hitting 60, 70, 80 home runs, did you? Some people
Nope.
was taking steroids and they was maybe that much better with the steroids than without.
Yeah, man. I'm just hoping that we get some games in, but at the same time, Eon, one thing I want to ask you too, and we were talking about it now. That series is going to be like for mid-April that we actually get baseball in play. But do you think that it'll be better if they cut down the games? We talked about that before, like 120, 112 in that range versus the 162. I think more games would be more meaningful, and I think that it'll be a lot more at stake if they did cut them down a little less games. But what do you think would be the best as far as range of games that you can play and still be competitive and to basically put things at stake to make it meaningful in the major leagues?
I'm gonna put it out here right now, Hugh. I say this strike lasts till the first week or two of April, which means we'll start baseball probably the end of April, early May. And I think it was going to be talked about at that point at the end of the season whether to start keeping it that way. People talk about they don't want to change the amount of games because they're messing around with the purity of the game. Remember, we weren't always playing 162 games, people. At one point, it was 120, 142 games. So when you think about that, and you think about people like Cy Young, who fucked around and won 40 and 50 games a year, that make them numbers even that more impressive. That's why some of the numbers in terms of baseball, ain't nobody touching them, okay? Ain't nobody about to win 500 games in baseball no more, all right? Certain numbers, they untouchable. It's not even fathomable for you even to think about it. It's not going to be nobody beating Nolan Ryan's strikeout record, 5,000 plus, okay? Understand, they say on a good day, Nolan Ryan could go outside right now at 60 something and throw about 70, 80 miles an hour. Imagine how impressive that is.
Yeah, because that
Crazy.
dude, man, he was an Iron Man. Those are
Remember
guys I
when they started, Nolan Ryan started pitching when they didn't really have a radar gun like that. They said if they did, he probably in his heyday throwing at least 105 consistently if they had today's technology. And they said, and he said people like Bob Feller back in the day probably threw him harder than he did. As crazy as that sounds. But I really think we're not gonna get baseball till late April. So that gives us probably about 120 games. And
That
ideally, I can see
is,
that because keep in mind, one of the things they already did agree to is that they are going to expand the playoffs this year. So
yeah,
I think even if we do get the 120 games, we still gonna get a nice amount of baseball because there's gonna be more teams that make the playoffs, and they're gonna make the early season. Instead of that one and done thing, I think it's supposed to be best of three now, something like that. So yeah, they didn't follow some of the models of NFL and NBA with the playing games and stuff like that. So I think it's better because in the end, remember, a lot of that early baseball in late March, early April, it's cold. It's a lot of rain out. It's the occasional snow out. It's not
yeah.
good baseball. You only getting
Those
so
guys
much
are
in terms of
beautiful.
the pitching because you're usually getting 5 inning starts. You get a lot of the older players swapping in and out of the lineup because it takes them a little longer to get warmed up, or you basically don't want to risk them getting injured early on in the season, a la Miguel Cabrera, who is notorious for not playing so well that first month of the season these last few years. So yeah, I definitely think at some point they got to visit that because they got to do something to modify the game of baseball because we already know we're losing a lot of fans because basically they dying and the young people they're not into baseball, they into
It's
football
not
and
a lot of
basketball.
true fans. I agree. It's not a lot of pure fans right now when it comes to baseball. But that'd be good to have 120 games, man, because like you said, a lot of the guys, the older guys, the veterans too, it takes them longer to get warmed up. But a lot of them guys, like the Miguel Cabreras, the Albert Pujols, and a lot of guys that we love and we like seeing play, um, most of those guys are from hotter climates areas. Like Venezuela, Dominican
True.
Republic, where it's always nice
Good,
outside.
good
So
point, you.
mhm,
Good point.
they usually start cooking around June, July. That's when baseball get good.
Right.
Around June, July, I sit up in the house, man, kick it and just watch some good baseball. It seems like around that time, around like the mid-June to like the 4th of July, that's when baseball really start to get to the point where the games start to mean more. They get competitive. You even see a little fight or two in the games because that's when they start to compete once the weather get warm. But I'm definitely interested in seeing how that's going to play out. 120 games will make more games meaningful. And I think that they need to do that because, like you said, at the beginning of the year, it's cold and people not really playing their best, man. I want to see when everybody's at their best on an even playing field, especially when the East Coast start to get warm.
Right. Then another thing I think they'll probably visit somewhere down the line is cutting down how many spring training games we have.
It's
I,
too
I think
many.
I think they basically cut a couple weeks off of there. They had that first week where you had the split squad games and all that, and then at that point you pretty much know who's gonna make the squad and who don't. At that point, you had the minor leaguers start their season early, and then you had your major leaguers do another week and then come on up because that first couple weeks is like spring training anyway.
Yeah. I definitely think so, man. Hopefully they can get something together and we'll keep y'all posted. Right now, it's been at a standstill, and I know E has some more scoops than I did, and just want to hear his insight, which I appreciate. E, that was pretty good stuff, man.
I thought so when I found out the information. Like shout out to the person that I talked to, and also shout out to some of those talking heads. We always try to keep up with the main people that talk about these things, MLB Network and ESPN and CBS Sports Network. So when we come with our perspective, it's kind of based on some of the stuff we hear, and then of course we have our own opinions as well. So
Yep, like shout outs to Ken Rosenthal, man. I love his opinions when it comes to baseball, especially when it gets to the point where the hot stove and the winter meetings start. Just wish that everything was back and up and running right now because we still got to get these trades and like big name free agents out there, man. And that's something I'm looking forward to. But on that note, I want to slide
right,
over.
we got to shout out Big Poppy too, man. He's
Oh
in the Hall
man,
of
yeah.
Fame this year, man. I'm looking forward to him getting enshrined.
Not only is he in the Hall of Fame, finally, man, I think they kind of messed over him because of the whole steroid thing.
Well, he
But
still
to
was
be
the
in
first
the
ballot
Hall
Hall
of
of
Fame,
Famer, Hugh, so we can't be too mad at it.
not at all, man, because it was well deserved, man.
Yeah.
What he did and what he brought to the game.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he should have got more votes. We know that, but
Oh,
it was
absolutely.
always that possibility that he could have. So that's what kind of tainted that. But Again, at some point they'll start letting the steroid people in. We know that.
They might as well. It was cool too because you seen him at home and he was chilling, and a lot of the Boston Red Sox players kind of chimed in too, man. And it was good to see Millard and a lot of those guys talk to him and kind of had they say so, man, about just the old good old Boston days, man, because that was a really good club. I was a Yankees fan, but you still had to respect them, man. I was a really good team, man, to go through what they went through, man. And I still got nightmares about the 3-1 series, man, when they came back and beat the Yankees, then end up winning the World Series. That if that wasn't, I'm gonna put them in the first ballot Hall of Fame just for them, keeping the fight and going on and winning under them circumstances. I don't know what would have.
If anybody got nightmares about them Yankees days, it's probably Tino Martinez and Don Zimmer. God rest his soul, because I know every time he's seen Pedro on TV, like
Pedro, yeah, Pedro was at Big Pappy's crib when he first found out he was first ballot too, man. Big ups to Pedro, man, one of the better pitchers in our era as well, man.
Absolutely.
I want to shoot over to football now, man. Right now, it's an important part of the year. We got the combine coming up right now, and it starts on Thursday. It's a lot of information they've been leaking out, man. At the big meetings at the combines, and it's been pretty crazy, man. Because you've been hearing crazy things so far, man. I don't know if you heard some of the rumors. The GM with the Giants, Joe, showing. He said, man, he listening to any offer, starting with Saquon Barkley and anybody else. And they already released Devontae Booker, the running back, and they got rid of Kyle Rudolph today, too, trying to make room and get under the cap. And I think right now, it looks like right now, after Joe Judge and everybody was getting dismissed from the team and the new coaching regime with Brian Daboll, it seems like, man, they're about to just start cleaning house right now. And not only they look like they're going to clean house, but it's looking like they're trying to rebuild, starting without Daniel Jones because they did not pick up his fifth-year option.
This ain't even a question of who and what the team is. It's where they are, okay? We're talking the New York Giants. Remember, a lot of these things surface around the money of it. Remember, New York is the largest city in America, one of the largest cities on planet Earth. You cannot have a situation where most of the New York sports teams suck. And right now, that's kind of where they sit. The Yankees doing their thing. They're at least around the verge of being competitive in the playoffs and whatnot. The Mets suck. The Jets super suck. The Rangers not that good. The Islanders okay. This is not good for the city of New York. When your town has good sports teams, it brings people to your town. Remember, New York, like every other city in America, has gone through a full-blown pandemic. They need to make up some of their money. You do not make up that money if you got teams that suck. Now, granted, part of the problem I have with the New York Giants is the same problem I got with the New York Jets. How y'all gonna be the New York teams and y'all play out there in New Jersey? The fuck? Make that make sense. I know. I understand that New York is all. Y'all better scoot some part of Central Park over and put a little land over that way and put them teams over there. That's ridiculous. Y'all regentrifying Brooklyn and Harlem and all that. You mean tell me ain't no space over there y'all can throw them stadiums at where they can have their stadium and understand. And I am a fan. I understand that some towns like New York and LA have multiple teams. Each team should have its own stadium so they can develop their own fan base, okay? As crazy as it was with the Rams winning the Super Bowl this year, it was disrespectful that many times when they had a home game, they was not even the home team for real. Yeah, and I'm not even talking about the time like when the Raiders played there. That almost makes sense. LA will always be a Raider town to a degree because remember, the Raiders have a large fan base in the Hispanic community. And a lot of those same Raider fans are also Dodger fans. But in the same token, when you got teams like Cincinnati, like Detroit coming into your stadium and they got more of their fans there than yours?
That's not
Detroit
looking
is
good, man.
far from LA. Come on, man. New York the same way. I mean, come on. Y'all got to do better than that. And that team you're putting out, they also got to do better.
You
Because
ain't lying.
in New York, you got 8 million people. You always should have a stadium that's full. All you need is what, 60, 80,000 people to fill a stadium? If the Lions could sell out down there every week, I know good and damn well if New York had half decent a team, they would sell out every week. They got to do better. And I think the management is starting to understand that.
Yeah, I agree.
On the field that's going to compete because it's not like y'all playing this extremely hard division. The
You know what's funny?
Washington Commanders, they still gonna suck. Okay, don't even get a start with them Cowboys. I feel you, H2. You already yelling now. I'm talking about my Cowboys. We miss you, H2. But no, the Cowboys, they are right at best. They the cream of the crop of that NFC East, but they're not that great. And don't even get me started on the Eagles. The Eagles don't know what they want to be. They made the playoffs, but they pretty much snuck their way into it. Let's be honest. So if you really want to take advantage, this is the time. Gather as many of them picks as you can these next couple of years and get good. And then maybe you could be like them Bengals in a couple of years. So I ain't mad at him. I say you take Saquon Barkley and put him on the table too. Get as much as you can. What good is it to have a team where basically, okay, we ain't got nobody, but we got Saquon. Keep running him. You see what happened to Derrick Henry, and that dude we thought was indestructible. You see what happened to him.
And I think that definitely
already proved that he's injureable.
I think a healthy Derrick Henry would have meant a totally lot more, and it would have made a difference, but that wasn't the case. This was for your family in KC, man. Right now, they're trying to get like a hefty contract over to Tyreek Hill right now. He had like 20 million left on his contract, but what I think they're trying to do, they're trying to stretch out some of that money and put it in incentives and stretch out his contract to make it a little cheaper and make it easier for them to get more people back under contract. Because Orlando Brown, the tackle, they want to try to keep him in stake and they don't want him to leave. It's a possibility they will have to franchise tag him, but they're trying to get Tyreek Hill and they're trying to get him back under contract to try to keep the team in order so they won't have anybody leaving in free agency.
It's 4 people in that squad. They need to sign no matter what. One of them already signed, as we know. That would be Mahomes. Tyreek Hill, you need to get that dude his money. That dude offers something on the field that can't nobody else duplicate. Ain't nobody in football as quick and elusive as Tyreek Hill. We know that.
The 3, cheetah.
You got to sign Kelsey. He is the best tight end in football, period. And I understand we got Pitts and Gronk and all them. No. He is the best tight end in football, period. Sign him.
Right now. Only argument I would have with you on that, and not even Gronk, because Gronk is like not in his prime no more. We know Gronk in his prime, he was untouchable.
Even
he was
in San Francisco, even better than him.
And the only reason I feel like he's definitely better than him too right now is because you already knew I knew Jimmy G was trash. But I feel like Kelsey does more as a player. He's more of a threat because you're going to have more double, triple teams on him. And I just feel like he's a better route runner. Let's be honest. Travis Kelsey has that part of his game because I've seen a few times where, don't get me wrong, man, I don't want nobody to start saying, I'm being a hater. But I've seen a few times where George Kittle looked a little weird, or he looked a little goofy on some of his routes. You don't get that out of Travis Kelsey, man. Travis Kelsey is like 10, 15-pound heavier wide receiver. He's that elusive. So,
I say Kittle is a better tight end in terms of the actual tight end that you're used to that's good at blocking and all of that. He's definitely the best blocking tight end in football. But in terms of overall tight end, I got to give it to Kelsey, man.
Because Kelsey doesn't respect his blocking either, because he's a hell of a blocker, but he doesn't have to block as much
Right,
But yeah, Kittle loved that part of the game. He's nuts, man. But yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like he's definitely the best, and they're gonna have to pay him
right.
because the day
And then the fourth person I would throw in there, you got to pay my man's the honey badger. You got to pay that dude.
yeah,
That
he the
dude,
hardest part of
when
that
he not
defense.
playing on your defense, it's a whole different defense, and not in a good way.
The news that I've heard too, going into today, because a lot of talks is coming out as far as going on in the combine, and the combine kicks off tomorrow around like 3 o'clock. Yeah, they're saying right now the Cardinals agreed to a new contract deal with the head coach Cliff Kingsbury and the GM Steve Kim. And do you think that's going to be making room for your man Skyler Murray? Because I see you over there shaking your head. What you think about that right now?
They doing my man Kyler scantless, okay? They doing that brother wrong. If they actually would have made it to the Super Bowl, we wouldn't even be having this discussion right now.
You
Because even
probably
if they
got paid
hadn't
first.
won it, if they had just made it to the Super Bowl, a couple weeks from now, he been signing that paper, okay?
Yeah,
They are skeptical because Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray's size. They are
yeah.
skeptical because he is not your stereotypical leader. He is not the rah-rah, all right, everybody huddle up, let's talk. Basically, Kyler Murray's like, look, this is what we doing. All right, get your butt over there. And I'll zip it to you. And he does that, okay? But he's not that guy where after the game you can sit and be like, yeah, so Kyler, I was like, look, man, game over, go on somewhere. I'm about to go to these houses. He comes off as that type of quarterback. The Malik, like from the game. Y'all remember that show, The Game? Where basically Malik was a decent leader, but not a great one because he was more concerned about what was going on in his personal life. I think that's
Mhm,
Kyler Murray in a nutshell. But that being said, remember, Kyler Murray is only 24 years old, and
mhm.
he always has option B. I promise you, somewhere in Kyler Murray's house is a little section where he still got a baseball glove and a bat. Hell, he might have a batting cage or something at the crib. And that always got to be in the back of his mind because remember, Kyler Murray's first love was football, but he's pretty damn good at baseball. Remember, he got drafted top 10 in MLB. Not just first round, but top 10 first round. He was already on his way to Double A Oakland if they hadn't drafted him in football. So that's got to be in the back of his mind that I still got time to transition back to baseball and get my money that way if they want to act up.
I'm definitely hoping they do the right thing right now, man. Because right now, like, the rumor is they said that they're not listening to no phone calls on him. Because we heard all the melee about him not being happy and being frustrated, and they thought he was being immature, and they didn't like the way he handled that playoff loss. They tried to put a lot of that on him, which it wasn't even the case. I just felt like D Hop presence wasn't felt when he wasn't playing. AJ Green got exposed, and the team just basically fell apart from there. Um, did you hear about the whole Aaron Rodgers situation right now, where they're talking behind closed doors, kind of on the low key right now, and their hopes is to bring him back. 1 to 10 scale, what do you think that they'll be at re-signing that man?
Man, hey, Ron, he playing games, okay? The whole cryptic Twitter message last week and all the little sad things he put out there. You know, he go on his boys' little podcast and talk his little stuff over there. And hey, Ron know what he doing. He done already made his mind up about the whole thing. But see, the thing is, Aaron will have you believe, no, I don't really want to be talked about and stuff like that. I'm just one of the guys and all that. That ain't how he really feel.
He
That
loved the hype.
Aaron, he kind of narcissistic if you really look at it. He kind of want to be in the conversation. That whole discussion about, well, yeah, I guess I won't be the MVP no more after all this, right? He knew good and damn well what he was doing when he did all that. He knew he still was gonna have a chance to be MVP, and sure enough, it jumped off like that. Now, long and short of it is, behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure it's like, look, he's a two-time MVP. You can't just pay him no chump change, okay? And it can't be like it was last time you signed him. He got to have more say so. So I really think we find out what Aaron's going to do after the draft. Because in the end, if there's not going to be a draft that's pleasing to Aaron, in other words, more offensive weapons, then that's when we get to talking about, nah, maybe not. Because in my mind, Hugh, and tell me if you believe the same thing, A.A. Ron already 2 steps ahead of them. In other words, he know the 2 teams that he would go to instead if he does not get signed. And it's probably the same 2 teams that we all been hearing little murmurs and rumors about. Why is his kid signed up to go to school in Ohio? Over there around about Cleveland. Why do we have interest in property in Colorado? These
Interesting.
rumors are going out here, okay? Those are the 2 likely teams he would go to. Cleveland, which would make sense because, they still kind of on the fence about what to do about Baker. You go ahead, put A.A. Ron in for the next 3 years. Meanwhile, you draft your successor approved by A.A. Ron. And then basically when he's ready to step down, you plug that guy in. So there's that. And plus, you see they already got the defense and stuff that he needs. You got Landry. And, of course, at that point, if they don't sign Adams, you're going to bring Adams over or Cobb, some of your preferred receivers. You had them draft another wide receiver to add to that mix. Or Olave would look good over there in Cleveland. So, there's that. And then, of course, if not there, then you try to work all that out with Denver that has a lot of the same stuff that you already need to be successful. Because in the end, the only reason A.A. Ron is holding on not is because of the money, because he already made much money. He got other projects that's probably already set up for him. They probably already got room for him in one of the booths over there at Monday Night Football or at the desk over there, Fox, CBS. But also because he wants to throw one more Super Bowl on his resume to make sure that he is that first ballot Hall of Famer, because he needs that for his own ego. Because A.A. Ron loves some A.A. Ron, okay?
And and that max money out there too, man. Because remember, we were talking about Denver got money to sign him and to sign Devontae Adams to a max deal.
And like I said, I don't even think it's about the money. How many of them damn State Farm commercials he done made?
Yeah.
State Farm paying that, brother. Come on now. He been back in the discount double check days. Remember that?
Oh, yes, sir.
5-6 years ago, him and State Farm, they done did some nice business together.
Started that State Farm-ish.
I ain't worried about him or Chris Paul based on that alone. They didn't make that bread.
And your boy Patrick Mahomes got his 2 cents in.
Him too. Him too.
You heard about the whole situation right now with your boy Lamar Jackson, man. He's been having conversations behind the scenes too right now with the GM Eric DaCosta over there with the Ravens organization. And unfortunately, he don't have an agent, but they said that they've been talking and they've been pretty close and they've been trying to get a deal done. E, how come a deal is not done with this dude of all people? No disrespect either.
I know what you're doing, Hugh. You're doing something that I don't like to always talk about on the show. But it's starting to look like you're digging that way. It's certain quarterbacks you're throwing in this mix. And I find it real interesting. And it seemed like when other quarterbacks like Josh Allen and who's the other one? Herbert, they already talking about making a deal for him already. But yet their African-American counterparts seem to have all these difficulties and issues to get the deal, even though they all do the same job. Why is that? Now, understand that your boy down there in Texas, the former Houston Texan quarterback, well, at least soon to be former Houston, he's the rare exception. They paid Deshaun his money.
They did.
But everybody else, they going through all these struggles. The Dak Prescotts of the world. You see what I'm saying? The Kyler Murrays. It don't sound right, especially when you're dealing with that whole issue of race in the league. And funny how that just seemingly went away for the moment after old boy got signed with the Steelers. But yet now here it goes, coming right on back up. Okay. I think it's something to that, Hugh. I think part of why these people ain't signed is not because of their skill sets or anything like that. I think it's because of that. When you pay people what they are really worth to truly be the face of your franchise, people look at the situations like Cam Newton and be like, yeah, You see, we paid Cam all that money. You see how that turned out. I want to pay this dude all this money, and then he turned around and hit the kneel on me. And now I got to explain all this to my boys. You ain't got him under control. My boy over there, I make it to where they do exactly what I say. I hear you, Jerry. But I just did it. I'm just saying, Hugh, it all come off like that.
It do, and it is. E. That's why I kind of was picking at it, and I was just kind of looking
I
over to
knew it.
you and seeing the looks on
I
your face
knew
and
it.
pissed off you was getting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. We're gonna talk about Jimmy G, man. This is gonna be quick for me, man. They're saying
This,
that they waiting
this
for him to get
is
help out of the teams or destinations where he could go. I'm gonna give you three teams, man. What do you think the best fit for him to be out of three teams in the league?
when you posed this question earlier in the chat, I cussed out loud. Okay, I almost got in trouble at work. That's like, dang, what's wrong, man? I'm about to talk about some mess. So yeah, go on, say your thing. Then let me do my little minute or two Jimmy G rant. Go on ahead.
You know me, I feel like he needs to be a bitch warmer forever. But at the same time, it's going to be some teams who are desperate need of him. Depends on what's going to happen with the Seattle Seahawks right now. I was hearing that your boy Pete Carroll is not answering calls, and he done hung up on anybody who asked about Russell. I don't think Russell's going to be happy when he hear that because that came out at the combine. I feel like he could be a backup on any team, but if I had to choose teams for him to go to, I think we're stupid enough to try to get him here in Detroit. That's
Not
one
gonna happen.
team.
Not gonna happen.
I definitely feel like the Panthers are desperate enough to make a move like that because right now I'm hearing that they're out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstate.
Yeah, price too
And
high.
and if I had to get a third team, I would say he can leapfrog this quarterback, even though no disrespect to Zach Wilson. But I think he could either go to either the Jets or the Giants. Because those are some desperate quarterback teams right now.
And I'm kind of disappointed in you, Hugh. Yeah, I kind of like your thought about the Giants or Jets, but clearly the best two choices to send that young man. One, Cleveland Browns. Cleveland,
Yeah,
especially if you have determined you're not going to sign Baker Mayfield. Remember, when he got traded to San Francisco, Cleveland was also interested in picking up Jimmy G at that point. It's just in the end, one, they said San Francisco had a little better deal, and two, Belichick kind of got a bias when it comes to Cleveland. If you remember his situations dealing with them back in the day.
yeah,
They didn't
absolutely.
necessarily do right by your guy. So he wasn't about to trade him to Cleveland. But I say
Yeah.
the best location for him to land, and I'm surprised you didn't think of this, you being the
Oh,
guru, the Washington Commanders, who desperately need a quarterback to get them to that next level. And in the end, is he good enough to get them to the Super Bowl? I won't say that, but he definitely
oh,
good
yeah,
enough
he's
to have
good
them
enough to
win
get
that
them to that
division.
next level.
Because say what you will about Jimmy G, his record speaks for itself. All he do is win. Maybe not when you get to the final couple games, but during the regular season, all he do is win healthy.
But not
Win
when you
healthy.
need him the most. I do not trust that guy, E.
I trust him enough to win the NFC East on a consistent basis.
Yeah, because the NFC East, you already know what the NFC East is. No disrespect for the people out there who are NFC East fans, but they trash.
Mm-hmm. And then that whole rumor about them trading him for Kirk Cousins and them swapping quarterbacks like we did with Matthew, stupid. Stupid. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Did you hear about the situation with Deshaun Watson? I was just looking at that right now, not so long ago. The Miami Dolphins are out. They said
Bottom
that.
line is the price is too high. The price
Yeah,
is too high. The rumor is that the Texans still want 3 first-round picks and maybe a third and a fifth. I understand if you're talking about the John Watson that almost won MVP that one year, but we talking about a dude that ain't played in a whole year and some change.
Absolutely.
You assume he still got a lot of those skills, but it's gonna take him time to get acclimated. I say right now he is worth the same deal that the Lions got for Stafford. Nothing more, nothing less.
Is that you, Coach V?
Two number one picks, a third round, and something else, and maybe a player to be named later. I'm not giving you three picks for that dude. Go Blue, you already know that's Coach V. You know that's my guy. What up, Coach? What's happening? Also want to shout out my sister as well who checked in. What up, sis? What's happening? Ashley in the building. Look at him. Look at him. You know it.
Yo, I want to throw something out here, E. I don't even know if you knew about, man, but I know a lot of times you don't like when I talk about things when it comes to violence with athletes or
What's
anything.
good, Coach V? What's happening?
What's good, Coach V? But yeah, it was an incident that happened recently, and I didn't know much about it until I digged a little deeper into it, and I said, okay, man, it was a little crazy and it got out of hand. And I said, why is this guy about to kill somebody? What really went on? Did you hear about the Cain Velasquez situation, the former UFC fighter?
Did not. Did not.
Yeah, man. He had a situation, E, where he's probably still in custody in jail right now. He got into it with a man, and right by like a school, he pulled out a gun and drawed fire in the guy around 3 p.m. in broad daylight. I said, man, what the heck made him do something like that? E, what I found out was today, what was real disturbing is when I looked at the story, it was saying that when Cain Velasquez did this, um, he was charged with 10 counts, but at the same time, he heard that one of his close family members under the age of 14 was being molested by someone who was watching over them. So I said it was a little different because I said at first I was disappointed because I was like, how come athletes always getting into stupid stuff, man, and always getting the limelight? But when I heard about the whole situation about, one of his close family members who's a child was getting molested, man, that was a little different. I actually couldn't blame him for that. And I said, you know what? He should have shot him dead, and I don't wish that on anybody. But at the same time, when you doing something like that to a defenseless kid, man, it's like he went after his own justice, E. And most times I don't really entertain violence, but in that situation, man, that was disturbing. And I said the guy kind of got what he was asking for.
Well, first of all, you have to send me that information so I can look into that a little more. But certain things, the ends justify the means. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, going to that case here in Michigan. I talked about that. We'll talk about it a little more on Sunday, obviously, that the judge basically denied Ethan, the little demon, as I call him, the one who did the Oxford High School shooting, that he
Yeah.
denied his request to be moved to a juvenile facility. I think that was the smart thing to do because there's certain people that really, really, really did not like what you did, little sir. And if you make yourself accessible to them, they're gonna harm you. They're gonna harm you bad because certain things you just don't do. And right up there at the top is molest somebody's child. Bottom line is, if I'm a judge, I'm sorry, there is no way I could send anybody to be convicted into jail that basically dealt with that. He did that to my baby, Your Honor. I did what I had to do. I myself got to let them go. It's certain things that's just unforgivable. It's certain crimes that, okay, the eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, it kind of go there with me. So if that is why he did what he did, I can't fault him for that. I can't be mad at that. I'm a law-abiding citizen when all is said and done, but certain crimes just don't, Lord forbid if any of my loved ones, my goddaughters or my nieces would have been that, who's to say what I would have did? You know what I'm saying? We be doing Gametime Audible from Jackson State Prison, basically. Because
Mhm.
I can't. I can't.
Yeah, man, that was a sad situation. I didn't really know the half. I first, you know how they do stuff, man. They always throw it out there where you don't know what happened. You just know that this guy went to jail and he in custody. And I was like, okay, what did he do, man? And he got a gun. And you know, the first thing me and a couple of my homies at the job was talking about, I was like, man, this guy is like a deadly UFC fighter, man. What is he, grabbing a gun and shooting somebody for, man?
And you got to admit, Hugh, when it comes to like UFC, NASCAR, hell, even WWE, you don't see too many of them getting any type of real trouble.
Not at all,
Whatever
man.
reason that is. I don't know if they background check these guys or if they, basically offer them counseling and whatnot when they get in trouble, whatever it is, or if they just got good public relations that keep these things under wraps. But for the most part, they pretty decent people. Football and basketball, you hear them people get in trouble all the time.
On the regular,
particular sports, you don't hear them getting into too much trouble.
I just pray for his family, man, in that situation, because that's really disturbing to hear, man. Because at first I was like, okay, what happened? When I found out it was a kid underage that was being molested too, I just really felt like that was something that kind of touched close to home, man. It was just really sad to hear, but at the same time, I definitely feel like what he did justified his means.
Yeah, like I said, I ain't mad at it. If that's truly why it happened, I have nothing to say on that. But what I can say is, Hugh, we done went on and on. We gotta get a commercial in here, bruh. Don't forget, we got to let people know about what's going on and some of our other people at the Nighthawk Network, and we gotta use the bathroom, okay? We gotta use the bathroom.
All right, man. We'll definitely be back.
We're about to take this commercial break. Shout out to some of our other shows in the Nighthawk Network. And when we come back, what we talking about, Hugh?
Man, we're gonna jump into the women's basketball, man. What's going on right now in the tournament or soon to be tournament? Because
basically we're gonna talk college basketball in general, men and women's. How about that? So yeah, when we come back, we'll do that. And this is Gametime Audible. That's Hugh Lee Sports Guru. I'm E Beasy. And this, of course, is our guy D4. Shout out to him. You keep hanging in there, bruh. Definitely got a couple things involving D4 products that I want to get into later on in the year. We'll have that discussion when it comes up. But in the meanwhile, we're just going to give my man his propers. And y'all check out his stuff. Make sure y'all go to the website and check out some of his gear and whatnot. Nice stuff. Nice quality stuff, y'all. Check him out.
Black on, get into it. Black on, look at that David Ford, right there, that's his thing. Black on, he don't know Tom. Look at that David Ford, that's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
Have you been scrolling Facebook and looking for that quick sports fix? Want a quick peek of what's going on in the latest sports news? Check out Pure to the Game Sports Blog with the sports guru, Hugh D. Lee. He'll get you together. Check it out. Follow it on Facebook. Make sure you like it.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Discretion is advised.
Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love. The views and or opinions expressed here on Gametime Audible is that of the host and or guests, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. Hey, what's going on, y'all? We are back. Gametime Audible in effect. Your boy E-Buck in the building, the Nighthawk in the house. And of course, we got the one and only sports guru, Hugh Lee, here to talk to y'all. What's going on, Hugh?
What's good, E? How everything going, my friend?
Hey, it's good, man. I'm ready for part two. What we got next? What we got?
And I want to talk about the Big Ten women's basketball part of the show, man. I was really happy to see we got like 4 teams among the 16 that's going to be in it. And definitely want to send a shout out to Maryland. You know, rest in peace to my man's Derek, a.k.a. Atlanta Hologram. I know you'd be proud of Maryland women basketball team.
Yeah, he definitely was a big fan of those Lady Terrapins, no doubt.
Indiana's one of the team, the Lady Hoosiers, you know, the Michigan Lady Wolverines, and of course yours truly, the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes.
Well, you bring them up. I imagine that's because you want to talk about their fearless leader.
Man, I didn't want to talk about that game either, but at first when I looked at it, I'm like, man, the game ain't too much. We were up at the time, and then it got real ugly, man. The 38 points, man, 8 out of 11 threes was ridiculous, man. And that team, at first, I was talking to you on one of the shows. I think it was just last week when I said, do you think with her and Monica Cezinano, would they be able to go as far as going to like a championship in the tournament? And after seeing their performances, I would have to say yes, because they got some really good caliber shooters on that team, man. I mean, they were shooting the blood out. No girl's still showing out shooting from the logo, but that's just her range, man. At first, I was like, oh, she just doing that for play. But no, man, she actually, I haven't really seen her shoot a regular 3-point shot this year, man. But that's an impressive team, man. But to see them, Michigan, Indiana, and to see Maryland in the tournament, that's huge, man, for Big Ten.
Well, understand, you're going to see a lot of the Power 5 conference teams field several people. You basically got the Pac-10, that Pac-12, I should say, that's strong. You got Oregon, you got UCLA, USC. Obviously, you have Stanford ranked in the top 5, so they're going to have several people in the tournament. Don't forget about Arizona, national champions, by the way. Then, of course, you got the Big Ten that will probably have both Michigan State, Iowa, Indiana. Purdue has a pretty decent team this year. Iowa, obviously. Then, of course, you got the Big East, where, of course, my lady UConn Huskies play. We'll talk about them in a few. Then, of course, you got Creighton. You got DePaul. You got a couple real good teams in that conference. Then, of course, you can't forget about the SEC, where the number 1 team in the country resides at the moment, that being South Carolina Lady Gamecocks, along with Texas and Baylor and a few of those good squads. So you definitely should have a good tournament in terms of play. I think you still boil down to those 4 to 8 teams that's currently in the top 10 that'll end up right there when all is said and done. But in terms of the men's tournament, not a lot of super standout players this year, which makes it for that much more interest in these next couple of weeks as we start to get into the conference tournaments and whatnot. Not a lot of guys that you see and be like, okay, yeah, that's definitely a lottery pick or whatnot. So I'm really actually looking forward more to the men's tournament this year than the women's tournament because I
It's
can't
not
tell
as
you right
strong.
now who's gonna win. I can't even
Yeah.
tell you with full confidence who's gonna be in the final four. I mean, when you look at the women's tournament, you figure, yeah, UConn will be there, Stanford will be there, Gamecocks will be there.
Carolina.
After that, who knows? The men's tournament, I can't tell you. It could be anybody.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of upsets this year too, because UK sometimes play well. The University of Kentucky sometimes, you be like, man, this ain't even the same team.
I
I've
mean,
seen.
think about it, Hugh. Just last weekend, 7 out of the top 10 teams in the men's college basketball lost this weekend,
Auburn got upset. It was a few
the top
teams that got upset.
including everybody in the top 6.
That really surprised me, man. But then it's like you said, it's not really no top team really to me, man. I was surprised. I looked up too and seen some teams. I was like, damn, when did this team become top rank? Arizona for one. I didn't know they was that high in ranking. So it was just really surprising to see a lot of the stuff that go on the men's side. But like you said, that's going to make it more interesting because in the ladies' side, we kind of know who's who. We don't know that.
And speaking of them, I actually want to, since this is starting to be one of your favorite players in college basketball, shout out to you to having an open mind about the women's game and starting to learn and understand. But I really want you to get a better feel for this young lady that you've really started to admire, Miss Caitlin Clark. Check out this little video, and then let me know what you think, Hugh.
Oh, man, I want to see those highlights.
What she's been doing for college basketball. She's
the talent is there, but it's not just the talent. It's not just the wild shot she's making. In her game the other night against Michigan where she scored 38, like the shots off the dribble, right? One leg three-pointers like Dirk Nowitzki. Like it's amazing to watch what she's able to do on a nightly basis. You see on the defensive end there, but just a pure scorer, number one scorer in college basketball right now, and it just every night it's something you're going to see something special.
She's a walking triple-double, double-double, whatever the case is for her, and she had the fewest games to reach 1,000 points in Big Ten history. Like that talks about the scoring. But you also start to peel back the onion and do a little bit of research on Caitlin Clark, and you realize her journey too is that she has never felt like there was a challenge that was too big. And I read a story about her when her brother was 6 years old. He was learning how to ride a bike. She was 4 years old. She hopped on a bike and just went. Like there were no training wheels, there was no learning. She just goes. And I feel like that's a really good analogy for what her career has been. It's been phenomenal. And then her journey to get to Iowa, because I believe she grew up in the state of Iowa, but she had offers from everybody. She was a top 5 recruit. And she's like, why would I go to Notre Dame when I could break the mold and be different and do something that athletes don't typically do, which is go to a lesser school that's not known for the success and carve out a path of my own. And so I got a ton of respect for her for doing that as well.
Yeah, and when you talk about her, like, obviously she has the skills, but when it just talks about her as a player, her head coach was talking about how she has the ball in her hands at all time. You can either make an impact when you have the ball in your hands, or you can make a mess. But she knows how to take responsibility and just really make a difference when she's out on the floor.
So the responsibility.
That, my friends, is Caitlin Clark, okay? Couple things that really stood out in that particular discussion of her. One, the fact that, yeah, she was highly recruited. She was basically top 5 on the list of all recruits that year. And remember, that's the same year that Paige Beckers was also recruited. So, of course, from my understanding, they obviously both were recruited by UConn. But in the end, though Paige had made up her mind early on she was going to UConn, the idea was, yeah, we want to get you over here. We basically want you to come, and then understand that her and AZ Fudd have been friends for years. So basically AZ had already made up her mind that she was going to go to UConn the following year. They was basically trying to set up a murderous row over there with the three of them. Imagine if them two and AZ Fudd was on the same team, because at one point in time on the AAU squad, that was the case. I really trying to find some highlights from them because I imagine they was deaf. The three of them on the squad. Come on, man.
Definitely not there, man. That's a shady big three that people wouldn't even give a lot of credit for, man. But they'll definitely have to recognize them, man. That's definitely something.
And think about it. It still might happen because remember, about 4 years from now, when they have the next Olympics after this next one, they'll all probably be in the WNBA, and they'll all probably be Olympians together. That's real scary. Then think about people like Aaliyah Boston and people of that ilk being on that squad as well.
I want to talk to you about Leah Boston too, man. Big ups to her too, man, for the 20 consecutive games, double doubles, man. I've been seeing her double doubles, and I was like, damn, it just wasn't double doubles. They was like double doubles that I haven't really seen a lot of grown men have in the NBA, man. That double double, the 28 points, 20 rebounds, was crazy. If you had to pick right now who your MVP was right now in the league out of those two ladies, Caitlin Clark and Alea Boston, who would you go with right now?
Truthfully, I'd probably go with who most people want, which is Caitlin Clark, because bottom line, if you don't have Caitlin Clark on that Iowa squad, they're not even making the tournament, okay? They got some okay players. They got some okay players beyond Caitlin Clark, but she is the straw that stirs the drink. You see, when we talk about UConn, hell, Paige Beckers didn't even play most of the year, and they still in the top 10. Now you add her to the squad with all of that deadly mix. So when all is said and done, is that South Carolina, same thing. They have a lot of good players on that South Carolina squad. Pretty much whoever's not going to UConn these days is pretty much going to South Carolina or Stanford. So, she done built a nice little cachet of people. There's people on that bench over there in South Carolina that probably would be starters damn near anywhere else in the country. So when you consider that, that's why I say, yeah, Leah Boston, she definitely makes a difference for that South Carolina squad. But they just as good. I done seen a couple games where she's been in foul trouble and South Carolina still was dominant. You see what I'm saying?
They got a lot of fundamentals over there, man. I never saw that much speed out of the women. Like, you can't make a layup and rest because they'll be on the other end making layups. They grab rebounds, man. They shoot well. They can shoot the outside shot. They got perimeter players like Leah Boston. That's a strong team, man. That's going to be a hard team to beat in the tournament, man.
See, I think the one thing that Dawn Staley learned from working with Coach Oriema on the Olympic squads is that your team needs to be very well conditioned. That's the one thing that makes UConn hard to beat with most teams. To remember, most of them, most of the UConn teams, they only play like 6 to 8 players in most years. But those 6 to 8 players, they could run circles around most of the teams that they play because they are well conditioned. Coach Oriema will tell you, I make practices hell, and I do that on purpose. Because in the end, when it's time for the game, you can have fun then. Because whatever happened in practice prepares you for the game times 5. And I think Dawn Staley took a lot of that philosophy with her down to South Carolina, and you're starting to see the fruits of that now. That's why if them two squads play each other, get your popcorn. Especially now that everybody's back. Remember, when they played South Carolina early in the year, Paige was and the rest of the team hadn't fully developed. So, yeah, South Carolina won that game pretty easily. I think they're going to have their hands full when they play each other next time.
Yeah, that's definitely entertaining TV that I would like to see as well, E-Man. Did you hear about the news today with the new NIL sponsors, bro?
All right, who done got on now?
Surprisingly enough, man, you're going to like this one, E-Man. Caitlin Clark and South Carolina Zaya Cook are headlining names of the new initiative by H&R Block called A Fair Shot. And with the Fair Shot, which is going to provide $1 million in sponsors and support for women athletes. It was just announced on Tuesday. That was huge, man, to hear something like that. I saw that, and I knew you were like that, and I didn't want to tell you until the show. But I definitely wanted to bring that up, man, because that's pretty good, man. And just sponsor $1 million too. That's pretty awesome, man, because A Fair Shot is pretty good, man. And I think a lot more people going to get involved in that too as well, man, because the money that the men make versus the women is always like just absurd. And to finally get them a fair shot, and that's actually the name of it, no pun intended, that's actually pretty good, man. That's good for women's sports.
Well, understand, it's good for 2 reasons. One, because you start to get more name recognition with the women athletes. You start to see them more so on your TV, and such, so that when it comes time for them to come and be WNBA players, you become invested because you want to know what happens to them after that. You want to know what it is. Shout out to the people who are marketing people like Coco Gauff, who basically will probably be the next great tennis player coming out of the United States. They are being very cautious and decent with how they are putting their names out there and having some of the things that they promote. You get to see that they are not only good athletes, but also well-spoken. That's why I say the future of the WNBA is in good hands, because when you hear people like Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers, Aaliyah Boston talk after games, they are very well-spoken. They are very knowledgeable in terms of the game. People like AZ Fudd, you can tell that these people have been coached for years and years. A lot of these travel leagues and Nike camps that's now starting to have women and men's camps, these things are starting to pay off in terms of the game and the amount of quality players that you're getting coming out of those camps. Speaking of Paige, you know, it's our show, but you know I got to show Paige a little love. Finally, y'all, wait for after several weeks with that bad knee injury to come back, and she announced to coach that, yeah, I need to come back on Friday because Sunday is senior day, and I got to let the seniors shine. I want to give Paige her props because, one, this was her comeback, and then I want to talk a little bit more about it after we show this here. Check it out, y'all.
No, Nelson Agoda with the box out. 5 seconds to go. Beckers looks at the timer. Has it knocked out of her hands, will get the shot away, and it goes to end the first quarter. Drake. No, Nelson Agoda with the box out. 5 seconds to go. Beckers looks at the timer. Has it knocked out of her hands, will get the shot away, and it goes to end the first quarter. And the celebration with the students section to top it all off as Paige Beckers gets her first points. Had it knocked away.
So, yep, she basically had 8 points in that game. But what really impressed me was, one, the after press conference when she talked about how she was just happy to be back playing with her team, and that right now it's about the team. You know, they asked her, you know, well, now that you're back, do you expect to be like it was before you left, or are you basically trying to model what you need to do in terms of what's going on now? And she says, at this point, I'm just trying to help my team win. I'm not coming back here to take over and be the focal point. This is a team now. You can show that we are very much improved. It's been a blessing in disguise that all of us had our injuries and dealing with COVID and whatnot, because it showed everybody that collectively we are all great players in our own way. So, no, I don't feel the need to come back and have to be like the dominant player. We got dominant players on this. I'm just one of many. And I think she went out to prove that point even further on Sunday, because, of course, Sunday was senior day. And, of course, all the seniors started. They basically started all 4 of the seniors and Paige Beckers. And she basically went out her way to make all of them look good. You know, Paige only took 1 shot that whole game. 1 shot. Everything else was assists and rebounds, and just basically getting her teammates involved. And I really like that she is unselfish in that way. You know, most superstar players be like, no, I'm trying to get my points and whatnot. I got to get my shine on. Paige already know that the days will come where she'll be able to light up the buckets. That's not what she's there for. She's there to win championships, and she is willing to make the sacrifices necessary to make that happen. That's why I'm becoming more and more impressed with this young lady by the day.
Yeah, because she could have acted a fool if she wanted to, man. But it was good to, like you said, she was like, this is not an I thing, it's a we thing, and it's a team sport, and that's what I want to play with. I want to play with the team mentality, because to see her go out there and just basically want to play because she like, hey, man, you ain't going to sit me out on senior night. I want to be here for all my senior for classmates and my teammates, and to go out there and just have a good time, man. I'd be destroyed, or I would feel bad if she didn't get a chance to play in that game. Which, like you said, man, she easily could have turned it up, man. But she basically did what she had to do to make sure that the team won, and that's all that matters. When
Exactly.
you put in effort like that and you're a good leader, man, it's gonna always reflect.
Right. And I like that, during the time she was hurt, she could have been sitting there on the bench all pouty and mad that she didn't play. But no, oftentimes when you see UConn play, she'd be the first one on the bench, like, yeah, let's go, let's go. She became basically from UConn's best player to their best cheerleader. And I think that's part of what got them through. The fact that they knew that, okay, well, yeah, we doing good now, but when we get our girl back, it's on and popping. I like the fact that when she got her big deal, speaking of NIL deal, that deal that she got with Gatorade and whatnot, what was one of the first things she did with the money? It wasn't to look out for herself and buy a new car on campus or whatnot. She went and got each one of her teammates their favorite type of shoe with their favorite colors on, and took the whole big picture and whatnot. I thought that was one of the coolest things I ever seen anybody do for some of their teammates. You know what I'm saying? That was awesome. They love Paige, and Paige love them. They're a team. That's why I think they're gonna get far in the tournament because they got the talent, but also they got that togetherness. And most of the good quality teams like that, that's how they play. They play like we family, and we need to get it done as family. You definitely got that feel, particularly on senior night when a dry eye in the house, they all cried because they're gonna miss their teammates.
Definitely would like to see them play, man, in the tournament. I'm looking forward to that. But like you said, the men tournament is a little bit more interesting because, like you said, this is a shaky situation, man. You can see a University of Kentucky or a Villanova team that could be one and done. You never know, man. With Villanova too, man, as the men basketball, they could go all the way or they could lose in the first round. That's been that team for years.
Right.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it in this March. So you already know, with the March Madness going on. Not trying to get off that topic, but I want to talk about some live sports right now, live NBA.
Okay, well, before you go there, I do want to mention one thing. Remember, y'all, this is the last season for Coach K. I'm very surprised they haven't hyped that up more.
Yeah, like nobody gave him any souvenirs or anything from the arenas. What the heck going on, man?
Right. Maybe that changes as we get closer to tournament time. But yeah, go ahead, Hugh. What you got?
They've been actually playing pretty well too, man. The Hornets are up pretty big right now, 106-94 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Indiana Pacers and Magic are in a close one, but what surprised me is the fact that the Magic has been up right now. Still, it's a close game. The Knicks and 76ers are playing. At first, the Knicks were beating them by a little bit, by 10 points. Now it's only 62-61 in favor of the Knicks. Utah Jazz are handling business against the Houston Rockets, 64-49. Heat and Bucks in a close one, 66-64 at the half. The Kings are down 61 against the Pelicans, against 65 at the half, which is shocking to me. Thunder and Nuggets ain't playing yet, but they start in a few minutes. Definitely don't think that's going to be a good one. And the Trailblazers and the Suns going to be a bad one too. So it's going to be too bad.
That's where you're wrong at. That's where you're wrong at, Hugh. That Trailblazers Suns game might be better than you realize.
Yeah, because I know
Booker out lately. Understand that right now, if the playoffs were today, the Trailblazers would be in the playoffs. They've been doing pretty good since those trades. Surprisingly enough, since the CJ McCollum deal and whatnot, they have had a winning record since that time. I'm shocked by that, to be quite honest. I thought they basically was tanking it all. Remember, you ain't got no CJ there. You got Dame Dollar still out, but that dude Simmons for Portland, he been balling. He may actually be the most improved player of the year at the rate this is going. He's been getting it in.
Yeah, you're right. Paul and Booker out tonight, but then Paul out, man. So yeah, that definitely might make for an interesting game. They've been saying that Boston. I've seen them play lately, man, and they have been playing better than what they have been before in the past. Because I feel like they're playing more as a collective team, and the defense has been ferocious. But with Jaylen Brown going down, man, I think that's a problem right now, man. When I saw that at first, I thought that they were going to lose, which they were getting beat pretty bad when he went out. But then I want to ask you a question too, man. Do you think that my man Marcus Smart did what he did against my man's Trey? Do you think he did that on purpose? Because I thought that was kind of a dirty play.
You know, Marcus Smart been kind of put out there as somewhat of a dirty player over the years. Kind of got that whole Draymond Green type reputation. Good hard player, but sometimes kind of step outside of the NBA law. So I can't really say one way or another. It's possible. I mean, basically, we starting to see Trey here a little bit of a mess talker in his own right. So it might have been slightly provoked by him. Who knows? But yeah, there's that. But since we talking NBA right now, I definitely want to talk about a couple teams in particular. Since we brought up the Sixers, real interesting so far. The new combination of Joel Embiid and the Beard. I saw them play the other night. They looked real good, Hugh. That inside-outside game, they had it going. The pick and roll, the whole deal. They look like they here. It could get real spooky.
They happy. They got
like they missing Steph Curry like I thought they would.
Yeah, I definitely thought so, man. But their chemistry is pretty cool. They laugh and joke around. They have fun. They have fun at practice. It's like when Ben Simmons wasn't really having as much fun as you thought he was earlier in the season with all the Bens. When you hear about Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid didn't like those comments, man. And I think he was tired of it finally. Now he's doing well, and he held that team down because at one point, remember in the year, they wasn't doing so good, and everybody thought because it was Ben Simmons. But then Joel basically put that team on his back and MVP caliber the whole time. But now you get a person who get a little bit of that pressure off of him into James Harden, who wasn't happy in his situation, you know. And now they're together and they're having fun, laughing at practice. They're, you know, acting silly in press conferences, man. They having a field day, man. And you can tell because all that excitement and the laughter and the joy, it goes out there and it plays for itself when they're on the court, man, because they've been playing really good. The young role players, I need to give them credit, man, over there in Philadelphia.
Especially that guy, Maxey, that kid that came out of Kentucky. He's a damn good point guard. He's a
right out
damn good point guard.
I think that was good for them to do that trade because now you get the chance to see him play better, man, and him to sell. And then you already know about Tobias Harris, man. But yeah, that's a really decent team over there. And to see them play like that right now is scary, man. And then think about when they go in the playoffs, man. He's not going to forget a lot of the stuff that went on in Brooklyn, man. So I would love to see that series and see them two teams play each other.
I want to see them two play. I want to see Philly play Milwaukee. Greek Freak versus Embiid. That's going to be must-see TV. Especially if one get the MVP over the other. They're going to show up and show out for sure. But what I am liking, and granted, neither one of them has played since he's been traded, but when they show Ben Simmons, he is sitting on the bench right there next to KD.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they having a lot of good quality discussion. I feel like they're talking about defense and, you know, how they going to play it once they play together. I can see the plan formulating over there. And keep in mind, they're saying that both of them should probably be playing sometime either this weekend or early next week. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that all works out because you kind of got a slight feel of what it could be like because last week's game of the week was Brooklyn and Milwaukee. And let me tell you something, Kyrie, he was feeling some type of way that night. Now,
that was a big game.
Well, but yeah, Kyrie was getting it in. And if he play like that alongside them two, and they still got Patty Mills coming off the bench, come on now.
And your boy was a real MVP that night, man. Steph Curry played good that game, but at the same time, I had to give credit to Drummond, man. Those 2 additions helped, man. That block he got on the Greek Freak sealed the deal that game. That was a really good game too. It was
And he
fun to
did good
watch.
on the rebound boards, of course, because remember, nobody's had more rebounds in the last 5 years than Andre Drummond. So he ain't no chump, man. He ain't just no throw-in in that deal.
I had 2 concern games, that concerned me on Sunday too, man. That Warriors Mavericks game. Yeah, I know Draymond's not back yet. And Clay didn't play, but the Warriors was up by a nice amount, man. And to lose that game to the Mavericks at the last minute, I just really was shocked because it looked like they had that game signed, sealed, delivered, and it seems like they just went to sleep, man. And a lot of that was the play of Poole, man. Jordan Poole hasn't been playing as well as he did at the beginning of the season. And they need him to step his game up. But then I heard, too, Steve Kerr was still confident and said that he going to roll with his team and roll with the punches. And he just feel like all of them need to step their game up. And, Jordan Poole's one of those guys. He didn't call him out, but he still said he's very confident in his team and what they had to offer.
Here's the problem, because keep in mind, they're a decent defensive team. They're a different shooting team when you get people like Clay in there. But I think the real problem is it goes back to some of them problems they had early on before they got to making these playoff runs. We live by the 3, you die by the 3. And it's certain nights where Steph, when he on, it's over. It's over. But when he ain't on, and these last few weeks, Steph ain't always been on. Pretty much ever since he broke the record for all-time threes, with the exception, of course, of the All-Star game and a couple other games, he ain't been quite as consistent a shooter. He been kind of streaky, and we're not used to that. And I still see at times where Clay is definitely back, but he's still not quite Clay just yet. So that comes into play too. But to answer your question you posted earlier in regards to the Suns, with them having the situation with Booker and whatchamacall, will that affect their status as the best team in basketball record-wise? I don't think so. And the reason is because the next closest team to them is, of course, the Warriors, and you see they share issues.
Yeah.
So I think they will hold that spot till Booker gets back, and then Booker will do enough to keep it going until that last week or 2 of the season, where hopefully Chris Paul will be back. So yeah, I think they'll finish with the best record in the league.
I wish we had Pastor Tillman on the show right now, man, because I had to say this. I wasn't going to leave this or leave it like a dirty little secret or skeleton in the closet. This has to be addressed because this is something that's not good. This is an issue right now with the Los Angeles Lakers. What the hell is going on with y'all, man? Y'all lose 123 to 95. It should have been more, but you lose to the Pelicans. And you get humiliated by the Pelicans. It wasn't like y'all got beat. Y'all didn't have the nerve. Y'all shouldn't even been in the same gym that night.
It's crazy, Hugh, because they are wasting one of the better seasons of LeBron James. And I'm talking about period. Not just for somebody his age. I'm just talking about all around better seasons. If they had a better winning record right now, he would be your MVP. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But it's like they got some issues, okay? And the thing is, LeBron being LeBron, he always got options. I do believe after next year, he got the player option to either stay in LA or not. Remember, we all know LeBron's master plan. He is basically trying to get a championship or 2, but ultimately, he is waiting for his son to come in the league. And pretty much he done said, wherever his son end up playing, he gonna play. Or he gonna make it happen on the reverse end where, bring my son to me. And him being LeBron. You said what now?
I got something for you, man. It's your choice what you want to do with it.
Okay, well, before you do that, let me tell you this. Yeah, as bad as the Lakers are, what the hell happened to the Clippers?
Man, I feel like right now it ain't no way, man. Them going from a good team or a championship contender team to just a really shaky team. But man, at the same time, they've been trying to hold their own with Reggie Jackson, man. He's been over there trying to make it happen.
No way,
But I
you.
think no Paul George, no
No way,
Kawhi.
you.
Like you said last year, I think I'm gonna call it this year. Kawhi ain't coming back.
I don't know if he is. I mean, bottom line, at the time you was thinking, oh, the Clippers then got over. They got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They about to win a couple. That's
He
starting to look
probably
like
the
it was
biggest
the
bust in
worst
that
move
free
of
agency.
all time.
He's the biggest bust in that free agency. I'm gonna go out and say it. I don't give a damn who say what. He has to be the biggest bust in that free agency.
I think outside of the Houston thing with Westbrook and Harden, that was probably the worst attempt at super team so far.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
want to talk about
go ahead, Hugh.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I want to talk about the sneaky good game that people didn't give a lot of credit for like all Sunday too, man. That game kept me on my heels, man. The first game was amazing. But when you watch that last game, the game on the doubleheader on Channel 7, the Utah Jazz and the Suns, man, that was a battle, man. I still feel like I wanted to see that game, though, with a healthy Chris Paul playing, even though Devin Booker played and they went toe to toe. But at the end of the game, man, it just looked good, man. Donovan Mitchell, man, he stepped up and he stepped up big, man. And I can't even just give it all to him. I'm gonna have to say former Laker Jordan Clarkson, man. That guy was on fire, man. Wherever he shot was
Jordan
making.
Clarkson probably should be the sixth man of the year. I mean, I done seen Utah play a few games now, and he had them nights where he basically is the best player on the floor for certain points. Now, I'm talking about either team at the time. Jordan Clarkson, I think he got a raw deal ever since the Cleveland days. When they brought him to Cleveland, he should have been a starter. Okay, it should have been him and LeBron in the backfield, and then everybody else. They did not utilize him correctly in Cleveland, and now he done went to Utah. And certain nights, particularly them nights where they didn't have Mitchell, Clarkson been that guy. People sleeping on that dude. They got a couple other good people on that Utah squad as well. They got a nice bench over there. I mean, I don't understand why Utah gets to these points and then the playoffs come and they just can't seem to get over that hump.
Anything.
I mean, I go back to a couple years ago in the bubble when it was Utah against Denver. That was a hell of a series, man.
That was crazy. That was one of the best series there was.
Mitchell and Murray, they was going back and forth. And, man, I really hope at some time, because I'm beginning to wonder if he's going to come back. I don't think we're going to see him play for Denver this year. And that's sad because I was counting on him to come back, and I basically was putting Denver in that top three. And I don't see that happen. But him and Joker, they're a hell of a combo.
But Jamal Murray, man, that dude played amazing, man. And I feel like we got cheated when he wasn't in the playoffs when he got injured. And I wish he definitely could play this year, man, because I don't think they get enough credit for that team. And then Michael Carter, dude, been injured most of the year. So it's like that team is not really fully healthy, but I want to see them click on all cylinders. I hope they can get one of the guys at least back, man, going into the playoffs.
And I need Aaron Gordon to step his game up over there in Denver too, man. I really thought that was a good move when they made it and got Aaron Gordon, but he definitely has not shown me
what the hell going on with Aaron Gordon, man? It's like he on the milk carton over there. He hasn't really produced what he should.
Exactly.
Who was the other team that was interested in his service? Was it the Boston Celtics before he went?
Either Boston or Chicago, I want to say. And
It's
that would have
sad.
been an interesting matchup if you would have had Levine on one side and Gordon on the other. That would have been interesting as well.
Yeah, man, because that team was playing better than people expected too, man, the Chicago Bulls, but it's not even really all of the Levine, man. I thought it was going to be more Levine than anything, man, but damn, DeMar DeRozan, man, he's really showing that he can carry a team, man, and he's not shooting all them threes and going all crazy with three-point shots. He basically let you know the perimeter game is still alive, man, because that dude, he been a sharpshooter, man. He don't shoot a lot of threes and, just shoot them unnecessarily. he shoot where he get the ball and he shoot at a high percentage. And he's been looking good doing that, man. I definitely would be surprised if people wouldn't put him in an MVP voting too, man, because he definitely deserved it this year. Definitely the way he's playing and how they handled that injured Chicago Bulls team.
Absolutely. But yeah, I also got to shout out to Kraken. Y'all, the Kraken playing tonight. I'm trying to tell y'all, for y'all degenerate sports gamblers, bet against them Kraken. Bet against them Kraken every time. Now, granted, they done won 19 games, so every now and then they mess up the formula. But tonight they playing a team. Predators, one of the better teams in the NFL. I'm about to get on. I'm about to get on.
Put that in, huh?
I'm about to make some lunch money tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scores now. The game almost over with the Pacers and Magic, and it's still relatively close. 109, 108, but the Pacers took control of that game. And Knicks is losing now, 77-81 in the third. Still enough time, though, like 3 minutes left in the third. The Heat actually went up pretty big, man, 77-66 right now in the third quarter over the Bucks. The Kings are losing to the Pelicans. It's still third quarter, but 65-70. Denver Nuggets and Thunder started. Unfortunately, right now they up, but that's not going to be for long. The Thunder, their time is going to be numbered, and they're going to get beat pretty badly. And the Hornets pulled the game out against the Cavaliers. That was one of the first wins they had in a long time because that team looked pretty sharp together, man, when you see all the additions to the team. You know, the Terry Roziers, you know, the Gordon Haywards, and then you had the guys who was already on the team like Miles Bridges. That's a really good team, man. You know, LaMelo. But it seemed like, man, when you're that young, sometimes you just really – I don't know what it is, man. Do you think it's a slump right now with them? Because they lost a lot of games that I thought that they should compete or win, and it was the teams they shouldn't even lost to. But to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, which has been a pretty good team right now, man, to beat them and get back into the winning ways, that's a good start, man, because on the playoffs getting closer. And I just want to see what that team's going to do because that was one of the teams who I was looking at like, man, they're playing good. When are they going to hit that wall? And they finally did. And to pull out with a game like this tonight, that was huge because I still feel like Memphis is one of them teams right now that I thought, okay, I was just looking for them or waiting for them to slip or waiting for them to lose or get on a losing streak. And that ain't happening right now.
That ain't happening because of stuff like this. I'm glad you finally brought it up. You know, I've been waiting all show to show this highlight here. Y'all got to see this, okay? This is from Memphis and San Antonio a few days ago. Y'all to see this play, and then we got to talk about it for a couple minutes. Check it out.
Murray 1 of 2.
The bench still stands.
Adams going long. Morant! Oh, he hit it! He hit it! John Morant! Insanity!
Look at this. He tells me to throw it long, get my feet underneath me, in the air, behind the basket. I don't know which one is better. I mean, look, the dunk, of course, the dunk is the one that's going to get you out of your seat, but this is amazing to be able to catch the ball 0.4 as you are floating away from behind the basket.
People, I need you to truly understand the degree of difficulty on that entire play. Hugh, you've been on a hard court floor before, have you not?
Yes, sir.
You've gone to like an NBA game and things in your lifetime, have you not?
Yes, I have.
You realize how long that floor is?
Man.
Let me explain to y'all that most people of average size like ourselves could not even have the arm strength to throw the length of a basketball floor, okay? To where if you tried to throw it, you would not even reach the other side of the court. So granted, yes, Steven Adams is 7 feet tall. Interesting side note about Steven Adams before I move on. Do you know he has like 12 siblings? All boys. They all range around 7 feet tall.
And that's that DNA, man. That's why we got Steven Adams, a.k.a. Aquaman.
Shout out to their daddy. Their daddy been slinging, making them giants.
Hey.
That's some of that super skeet, okay?
Crazy DNA.
But I digress. Okay. Anyway, this dude, aka NBA Aquaman, threw it the length of the floor. Okay. Now understand. First of all, it was good just for John Morant to even catch that ball because it had to have a little heat on it to get it that far. But not only does he catch it, but has the presence of mind as somebody's actually checking him. If you look at that highlight, somebody actually got a hand up as he's catching that ball. To catch it, turn toward the basket, fade away from the basket, and shoot it all in one motion. And make the shot. And I'm not talking about it was a straight up legitimate shot. Do you know how hard it is to do that? Have you ever played basketball before, people? I have. Even in my prime, when I had all my young legs and whatnot, ain't no way I could have did that, okay? I didn't put a tip in like that before, but that's basically just getting it and tipping it. To actually catch it in the air and be in the air long enough to not only catch it, but then frame your hands to shoot it all in one motion and shoot a legitimate jump shot. Degree of difficulty, just based on that alone, that should be the player of the year. But that's not even the best play he had in that game.
That was just one of them.
That was just one of them. And it's been like that all year for John Morant. He has become the new Dominique Dawkins, the new human highlight film, okay? But all that being said, he threw 50 on them that night, Hugh.
Yeah, that one didn't highlight either. You don't got that one, that 7-footer?
You said what now?
Do you have that reel when he bodied the 7-footer, dude?
No, I didn't put the dunk on here, but it was just as impressive. He basically dunked on half the team, okay? From half the free throw line.
That guy, man, he's impressive, man. And we talked about it. He's not really that tall. He's like 6'2", maybe 6'3". Yeah, and I think they're being generous. I really think they're being generous when they say that, man.
Right.
And for him to get up the way he do, like, man, when he catch oops, he just don't catch them. He'll cock the oop all the way back to his side and get up and dunk it. That dude gets up, man.
And every time I see that, I get mad. Y'all got to find a way to get the players that really do the dunking in the NBA to be in the All-Star game, okay? I'm not even trying to see the All-Star game no more until y'all make that happen. If it means y'all got to come out with a suitcase or a trunk full of straight-up cash, imagine that, Hugh. The All-Star game has slam dunk contest, and the winner wins this NBA marked trunk full of cash money. They literally wheel it out on the floor like, whoever wins this $5 million in cash. Tell me you wouldn't watch.
Man, yes, I would, because I just feel like, man, there's so many guys who can jump out of the gym, man, and I would love to see them get in that dunk contest. Like, for instance, like you said, John Morant, what's the kid from the Timberwolves, man? That dude gets up there.
Right.
Anthony kid.
Oh,
man,
yeah, no doubt.
It's just so impressive when you see them play and you do that naturally in a game too, man. Y'all doing like 360.
LeBron James is the Russell Westbrooks. I need the real people that be dunking in games to be in this damn slam dunk contest. And the way you do is you put a stupid amount of money on the line where they can't turn it down.
That's what I miss about the 80s, man, because you wasn't going to have Dominique Wilson not defend his title, and then you had a kid, Michael Jordan, come in and dunk, man, and they was dunking, man, and then right after the dunk contest, they'd go right into the All-Star game. Remember, they used to have it all in one night.
Same game, exactly, all the same day. The three-point
That's why I like, man, the new generation, man, I know they're a little bit more athletic and all, but I think they soft, man. I wouldn't want to see them play both in one night, but I would definitely like to see the guys who are relevant, you know, like you said, raise them stakes up on that money and have the best of the best in the dunk contest. Because this is one of the worst dunk contests ever.
And by the way, for those of you who have never been to a WNBA All-Star game, last few years, they don't put this on camera, but they kind of have an unofficial dunk contest. I would love for them to put that on TV as well.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
WNBA dunk contest. Oh, you're gonna get some people watching that because that's part of why some of y'all say y'all can't do the WNBA because they can't dunk. Yeah, they can. You got people 6'7", 6'8" in the WNBA. You think they can't dunk? You sound stupid.
Hey man, hey, is my man's playing again, J.R. Smith?
Huh?
I was just hearing something stupid, man. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that later, man. I thought it was funny what I saw, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, because last I knew J.R. Smith was playing golf in college, so you definitely got something on me on that one.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I seen one of my homeboys sent me a message, and I was like, yeah, I didn't know how relevant that was, but I thought it was funny, the little skit. I'm gonna show it to you later. But yeah, man, I feel like too, man, I just can't wait until the playoffs because when the playoffs usually come around in the NBA around April.
Yep, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what's going to happen because we know that March, man, in the next 2 weeks, man, they're going to be jockeying for position. And I'm definitely interested because right now, the teams in the East that I remember, most of them was only separated by like 5-6 games between the number 1 and 6 seed.
Yeah, the East is tight, no doubt.
Yeah, the West is a little different, but man, I seen something too I wanted to talk to you about because it was interesting to hear them talking about it. They were talking about it on the NBA before the game last night, and they were asking, do you think that the East have finally caught up with the West and the actual, power shifted to the East now? Because, at first, man, the East will have teams in there, man, and they'll be like 20 games below 500. But now it seems like they're a little bit more evenly matched. Yeah, some of the records might not be as good as some of the teams over there on the West, but it seems like the West is like far from reach now because now it's like you're definitely going to have Phoenix as the number 1 seed. It depends on how the Warriors continue to play the rest of the season. They'll be the for sure number 2 seed.
Yeah. Like I said, we got 21 games left in the regular season, give or take a couple per team. These next 30 days will pretty much tell most of that story in terms of playoff positioning. I'm looking forward to it. But of course, next week we pretty much got college championship week. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. I mean, particularly when you got like the Big Ten and Pac-10 tournaments and whatnot. This team definitely gonna win that tournament and a lot of those. So I'm really looking to see how that plays out into seeding for the tournament and all of that. So we'll definitely be checking into that. So yeah, you can catch us next Wednesday. The following Wednesday, we will probably take off. I'll tell you about that, Hugh. But once we get back, it should be tourney time. And March Madness, one of my favorite times of year. And the way my job is set up right now, I get the opportunity to actually check some of that out. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm glad I got all these devices. I'm going to have probably both tablets. I'm going to have like a split screen TV. I'm going to have my phone and everything, man. I was watching one time, my niece came over like, man, that ain't even all that necessary, especially when I had those brackets on the line at the time. I was watching everything I could, but yeah, definitely this is the most exciting part of the college years, man. And then there's like a few games left in the NBA, so a lot of that stuff gonna be sandwiched in between each other. Then we got like the NFL free agency coming up March 16th for everybody, just to let y'all know that's going to be the new fiscal year. We still got the combine coming up on Thursday. We already kind of sealed our fate with baseball, but then it's so much sports is going to be coming around right now, man, and I'm definitely excited. This is a special time of year.
Absolutely. So those who love sports like we do, our time is coming, y'all. Let's get ready. It'll be warm before you know it. With that being said, we're about to get up out of here, y'all. We appreciate everybody that tuned in. It's kind of light on the comments tonight, but that's all right. It'd be like that sometimes. We understand. But if you guys catch this later on, let us know. Give us a like, make a couple comments whether you catch us here on the book or over there on YouTube. We're going to start posting little segments of the show over there on IG as opposed to going IG Live. So, let us know if you see it there as well. We appreciate all that and all the feedback. We're not talking about enough of what you guys want us to talk about. Feel free to let us know by hitting us up over here on the the email, which is nighthnetwork313 gmail.com. Again, let me show y'all. Here you go. Gametime Audible at nighthnetwork313 at gmail.com. You also can reach us through our messengers on Facebook, and you probably could also hit my man Hugh up as well. He about to tell you how you can do that. Go ahead, Hugh.
Y'all already know what to do. Hit me up on that Pure to the Game website, man. I try to put everything on that personal blog, man. Let y'all know what's going on. Try to be the first to give y'all all the exciting news. So whenever you get a chance, man, click the like button, man, and check me out, man. I'm there for y'all whenever I could be, man. And it's going to be a real exciting part of the year. I'm going to have a lot more information than usual. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Absolutely, y'all. We appreciate all your feedback. We appreciate all your love. So that being said, a special shout out to our girl, Road to Stardom. We ain't see you tonight, Road, but you've been in our thoughts. Yeah. And we appreciate everything you do in terms of supporting the network. We'll definitely get that project to you soon, by the way. Haven't forgot about you. But hopefully we will catch you and everybody else next week when we come back on to talk some more of y'all favorite sports. Until then, y'all have a great, blessed night. Be safe. Prayers for Ukraine. War is stupid. War is stupid. That's all I can say on that. Any last words before we go, Hugh?
Shout out to Road. Miss you tonight, but definitely want to hear from you next week. And if you couldn't hear us tonight, man, definitely like for you to go back and tune into YouTube. But yeah, man, we want to give you your love tonight because you the real MVP. Most every night, man, you hear you showing us love and support and keeping us busy on the network. So it's much appreciated. It definitely didn't go unnoticed. Believe that.
Absolutely, Road. So for you and everybody else, we love y'all, appreciate you, and we will catch y'all next week. Let me go on ahead. Let's see. Wait for it. I found it right on time this time. Here we go. Throw them up, you. Throw them up. You know what to do. Throw them up.
Please.
Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk Network presentation.